Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, depends on whenever you're viewing this. Miss Abate here, and we're going to go ahead and get started for a new lesson today. So today we're going to do a read aloud, okay? So I really like this story. It's called The Boy Who Cried Wolf. I think a lot of you guys have probably heard of this story, but it's a different twist to it. Okay, so it's not going to be the same one that you guys have grown up listening to or heard your families tell you stories of. Oh, there's a gnat flying around. And it's definitely pretty interesting. And we'll go ahead and get right on into it. Okay, so before we get started, I just kind of want to talk a little bit about this text with you guys, okay? So, The Boy Who Cried Wolf. So first thing that I want you to take notice of is that it is a fable. Sorry. Okay, sorry, somebody's trying to get in my room. Sorry. So it is a fable, okay? So a fable is a fictional text, right? So that means it's not true. And fables always teach us a story, okay? I'm sorry, they don't teach us a story. They teach us a lesson. So fables are always going to teach us a lesson. So meaning the text is going to talk about things and you're going to learn about, you're going to learn about life and something that you can relate to with the text. So I think you guys already know what the lesson is to be learned from The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Okay. And we'll talk about that towards the end of the text, what exactly that message, that moral, or that lesson is that we learned, okay? But I do want us to also focus on the essential question for this text, which is what can animals in stories teach us? Read to find out what a shepherd boy learns, okay? So right now you do not need anything to write with or anything to write on. I just want your listening ears and your watching eyes and a nice, still, calm body as we read this text and listen to it, okay? So like I said, it is kind of cute. It is fun. So I'm excited to share this with you, okay? So let's go ahead and get started.
Long ago, a shepherd boy sat on a hilltop watching the village sheep. He was not fond of his job. He didn't like it one bit. He would have liked something wonderful to happen, but nothing remarkable ever did. The shepherd boy watched the clouds move softly by to stay busy. He saw horses, dogs, and dragons in the sky. He made up stories with these things as characters.
Okay, so let's talk about this first paragraph right here. So I want to ask a question. What is the boy feeling? How does he feel about his job? So maybe look at the illustration and go back in the text, okay? So how do you think this boy feels about his job? Well, it says right here, he was not fond of his job. He did not like it one bit. And we can tell by his face that he does look kind of bored, right? Okay, let's keep moving on.
Then one day he had a better idea. He took a deep breath and cried out, "Wolf, wolf, the wolf is chasing the sheep." The villagers ran up the hill to help the boy. When they got there, they saw no harmful wolf. The boy laughed. "Shepherd boy, don't cry wolf unless there really is a wolf," said the villagers. They went back down the hill. That afternoon, the boy again cried out, "Wolf, wolf, the wolf is chasing the sheep." The villagers ran to help the boy again. They saw no wolf. The villagers were angry. "Don't cry wolf when there is no wolf," they said. The shepherd boy just smiled. The villagers went quickly down the hill again. That afternoon, the boy saw a real wolf. He did not want the wolf to grab any of the sheep. The boy thought the wolf would snatch one of them for a delicious, tasty meal. A sheep would be a big feast for a wolf. He quickly jumped to his feet and cried, "Wolf, wolf." The villagers thought he was tricking them again, so they did not come. That night, the shepherd boy did not return with their sheep. The villagers found the boy weeping real tears. "There really was a wolf here," he said. "The flock ran away. When I cried out, 'Wolf, wolf,' no one came. Why didn't you come?" A kind man talked to the boy as they walked slowly back to the village. "In the morning, we'll help you look for the sheep," he said. "You have just learned one of life's important lessons. This is something you need to know. Nobody believes a person who tells lies. It is always better to tell the truth."
The end. Okay, so I first want to ask, what is the lesson to be learned from this story? So think about, if you were this boy, or maybe even a villager, what is the lesson that can be learned from this? What is something that you can use in your real life? Well, it says right here in the text, you have just learned one of life's important lessons. This is something you need to know. Nobody believes a person who tells lies. It is always better to tell the truth. So I want you to think about that lesson or that moral of the story. Now, raise your hand or point to yourself if you think it's always better to tell the truth. Yeah. And then also think about, would you rather have somebody else always tell you the truth? Raise your hand if you think that everybody should tell you the truth. Yeah. So we know that that is something that we should always do, but we did just learn why it's better to tell the truth, well, for this text, right? So I do want to go back into that a little bit, and let's talk about why the boy did this and why he thought it would be a good idea, okay? So if we go back to this first text, or excuse me, this first page, we learned that the boy was bored, right? We talked about that. It says he was not fond of his job. He didn't like it one bit. Okay, he wanted something remarkable to happen. He wanted something fun to happen. So what did he do? Yeah, he said he had a better idea, and he thought that, what did he think would happen when he cried out, "Wolf, wolf"? Do you think he thought it was going to be funny? Do you think that he thought the farmers and the villagers would laugh with him? Do you think maybe he wouldn't be bored anymore if he did that? Maybe all three of those things, right? So he tried to do something fun for him, but was it fun for everybody else? No, of course it wasn't. Now, I want you to look at these illustrations right here, okay? How do you think, well, let me go back to this one. So first, let's look at this illustration of this boy. So how do you think he felt when he did all of that? So if you see his face, he kind of has like this grin on his face, right? Maybe he thought he was being a little bit of a jokester or prankster. Maybe he thought that he was being funny, right? So I think he felt that he was doing something funny. Well, then let's look at his face here. Yeah, he looks scared. So do you think he's thinking that was a bad idea to cry out wolf? Well, I hope he does think that, because we just talked about, it's not really great for people to lie to other people, especially in a situation like that, right? Okay, so I hope you guys learned a lot from today's lesson, or just at least enjoyed today's lesson, and I will meet you guys back for another skill.